Hello and welcome to the 13th video lecture of Principles of Marketing, Semester 1, Model number 1. In today's video lecture, we are going to continue with where we had left off in our previous video lecture, that is macro environment. In our previous video lecture, we had already seen about few topics, subtopics about macro environment. Macro environment is basically large environmental forces that affect the business. Now, in our previous video lectures, we have discussed about the acronym PESTLD, PESTELD, and once we have discussed about all these aspects, that is PESTLD, we have already discussed about P, that is political, E, that is economic, S, socio-cultural, T, technological. In today's video lecture, we are going to discuss about the remaining last three things, that is ELD. E stands for ecological, that is also known as natural environment, L, legal environment, and D is the demographic environment, which is considered to be one of the most important in recent times because there has been a lot of changes in demographic profile. We'll come to this later. We'll go one by one. We'll start with ecological environment. Ecological environment is also known as natural environment. Natural environment because it consists of all the natural things, nature. So what is the first of all is ecological environment very important? See, business somewhere or the other depends on the environment. Now when we talk about business as such, there may be manufacture, it might be a manufacturing a business which requires raw materials. What will happen if raw materials dwindle or the availability of raw material decreases because of lot of mining? Maybe an example or might be KGF, that is Kolai gold fields. Now the deposits of gold in Kolai gold fields, the mines, has decreased, and because of which it is not economical to mine gold in KGF. So what happens to the business? Business will be affected by it. They have to either get the raw materials from somewhere out, maybe far outside, or maybe relocate to some other places. Similarly, there are a lot of environmental laws, ecological laws, which are also known as green laws, which one has to take care of. If we do not take care of these laws, we will be under pressure from the government, social activists, or maybe even fined or given a ruling by the court to stop the production activities then and there itself if we are violating these environmental laws. So we'll see what are these natural resources. What are the ecological environment? Natural resources that are needed as inputs by marketeers or that are affected by marketing activities. So all the natural resources that are needed as inputs by marketeers, maybe in the manufacturing stage also, or maybe in the marketing and selling stage, or all those things that are affected by marketing activities. So whatever activities we are doing as a business, what all are the things that is it is affecting. So all those things come under the ecological environment. The first and foremost, most important, most commonly seen impact of a business, especially a manufacturing business, is resource depletion, shortage of raw materials. A very good example of shortage of raw materials you can find in the case study of Coca-Cola in Tamil Nadu. When Coca-Cola started with bottling of mineral water, that is packaged drinking water, actually not mineral water, when it started bottling of packaged drinking water, half liter, 1 liter, 2-liter bottles, 5-liter bottles, 20-liter bottles in villages of Tamil Nadu, very quickly within a year or two, the groundwater level of these villages started to go down. As a result, most of the wells in the villages ran dry. Coca-Cola, which has huge deep pockets to have very good bore wells, they dug deep and they started to take water which was deep inside the earth, and as a result People in the nearby villages also had to suffer because all the wells which were there in the vicinity of the plant went dry. Eventually, even Coca-Cola suffered shortage of raw material, that is water in this case. They too did not had enough water to bottle these plants. Some of these plants were either relocated or they were shut down. So this may happen. Another example which I had given was of KGF, where a resource, that is raw material, started to dwindle. In service sector, sometimes it may happen that we may not get enough of manpower, so that also might be a case. So basically, resource depletion means shortage of raw materials or anything that is required to run a business or marketing of the firm. The next thing is increased cost of energy. As we all know that cost of energy might increase slowly year by year. It may be in the form of electricity bills, it may increase. It may be in the form of fuel supply, that it may increase, gas charges that may increase. So all the things that supplies energy to a firm or a company may the cost of these might increase. Also, green laws regarding pollution is a major thing in these days. If you see some of the manufacturing firms or even sugar mills to be precise, you will get to know that the exhausts or that are coming, fumes that are coming out of these um, mills, sugar mills for instance, which is high in carbon, are required to have precipitators, carbon precipitators, as per green laws. That means what green laws say is these manufacturing hubs which are there or companies which are there should have carbon precipitators. These are some bar kind of strips which are attached to the inside part of chimneys, from which the carbon or the exhaust gas are left into the environment. Also, there are rules regarding how what should be the height of the chimneys, then what is the industrial waste that is coming out, how it should be treated, water, industrial water which is being should be treated first, filtered first, and then left out from the factories. So all these laws are there in place and one has to abide by the rule of the land. Next comes government intervention in natural resource management. A very perfect example might be the allocation of coal fields, koila, kolsa. So allocation of coal fields in India. As we know that Indian economy is a mixed economy, we have both public and private participation in Indian economy. What happens is in these cases is uh, government of India sometimes allocates certain coal fields to certain private sectors. It auctions coal fields, sometimes even the petrol refineries also it keeps on auctioning. So what happens is government is intervening in the natural resource management. Sometimes government may say that no, we are going to stop with public ownership, we are going to privatize it, so that is disinvestment. So this way government may either interfere in the business or it may come out of a business continuously, making creating some changes in the business environment. So there may be lot of government intervention also. So this is about ecological or natural environment. The next part that we are going to study is about legal environment and demographic environment. Now, when we are talking about legal environment, the name itself suggests it is something related to laws, laws of the land. Now, in particularly when we are talking about business scenario, laws relating to company, that is company laws, business laws. These are the things, corporate laws, you call it by any name. So there are a lot of laws that that have been framed. All the companies should adhere by the Companies Law 1956, which has been updated recently in 2016, 2018, 2020. So company it should go as per the laws that have been mentioned in the company. Similarly, if there are manufacturing businesses, they have to abide by certain rules. If they are service industries, there are certain rules. So there are legislations relating to specifically to marketing also. Marketing related laws also are there, which are there. Advertising for instance, there are certain laws, there are certain bodies which have been uh, put up by the government or by the advertising agencies itself, which looks after advertising. Competition Control of India, that is CCI, that also looks after whether there is fair competition that is going on, whether someone is trying to market a product which actually it does not is not as per what they are telling. It may happen that some person is trying to market a thing like you might come across these kind of advertisement in daily newspapers also. To be it's quite amazing to see such advertisement where they say that if you wear a particular kind of a ring, you will, all the bad things that are happening in your life will go out all of a sudden. Jyotish shastra and all. So these kind of advertisements are actually illegal and they should not be allowed in newspapers, but still in India we see these kind of advertisements being done uh, nearly everywhere. In televisions we see, in radio we can see, yeah, listen, we can also see pamphlets being distributed everywhere. In newspapers they are printed, magazines they are printed. So actually by wearing a ring, will your problems be solved? No, it cannot be solved. So they are trying to market or promote a product which actually is wrong. Sometimes you for example, this itself, we can talk about Patanjali, which had come in a controversy regarding its coronal this advertisements. They were promoting initially a product saying that it is a cure for COVID disease. But when the Medical Association of India, that is MCI, asked for research related papers of COVID for Patanjali, they were not able to produce it, and hence they were asked to promote their product only as a cough and cold cure. So there are legislations, there are bodies which are looking after whether marketing and promotional activities, advertisements are happening as per the laws or no. So there are also consumer rights in India. Consumer rights mainly talk about consumer protection rights. What are the rights of consumers? If you have you if the consumer feels that they have been looted or they have been cheated by a company, consumer has certain rights. It can go to use its these rights, that is through consumer protection rights. It can go to consumer courts against companies if there is certain marketing or any kind of a problem the consumer is facing with respect to the company. There are a lot of other laws and bodies and legislation which come in force from time to time, which most of the government agencies frame, or sometimes even the legislative assemblies of state or the parliament frames these laws. So these are some of the legal scenarios, law related scenarios. They come little bit we can say under the political environment, because based upon the political environment these legal framework are done. So sometimes in some textbooks L, that is legal, I is taken under political environment also. But we will go as per the acronym, we'll take this as a separate one. The lastly what we are talking about is the demographic profile. Now what is demography? Demography talks about the overall population of the people with respect to their age, the gender, the occupation, income level, education level of the people. So it talks about these things. So these are basically the statistics of your consumers, and how they are, who they are. It describes the population. Now in India we are seeing one very interesting thing. Indian population is considered to be a very young population. The average age of an Indian person is 28 years only. So if you are above 28 years, you are considered to be above average. So what happens here is changing age structure is there. As people are moving from a larger family, that is having more than two kids. Earlier we used to see three kids, four kids. You might have four uncles, two aunts. So this kind of things may be there. There used to be families where there were used to be six, seven kids for a couple, but now it is not the such thing. Now we are seeing that uh, people are having only two kids or maybe even one kid if they are staying in metropolitan. So there is a change in age structure also because of the family structure. Family structure is changing. From a joint family we are coming towards a nuclear family, but this will result in changing age structure. We will age this 28 average years, the age what I've told you, will move from 28 to 29, 30, 31, and slowly the age will be more. In Japan and all, if you see, or even China, US, UK, or some of the European countries, if you see, the average age is far more, 35 years, 40 years, 42 years. So average age is very high, so we have an older population in such countries, whereas in India we have a younger population, but this younger population will not stay young. Slowly as the population mix is changing, we will have a older population, 30, 32, 33, it may go on. Then changing family structures also, we have already taken this in socio-cultural point, so I'll not waste much time in this. Family structure is changing, we are moving from joint family to uh, nuclear families, smaller families. One couple may have only two children, so four people may be staying at the maximum. Grandparents might be staying with them if they are there. Then also one normal thing what we are seeing these days is the empty nest family. Now empty nest family, what is this? See, a couple is there, they have two children, they are well educated, they move to bigger cities from Belgaum, but the couple which is there, that is their father and mother, decide to stay back in Belgaum, whereas their kids are there in Bangalore or Pune or Mumbai or Hyderabad, somewhere they are working, they might be married, they might be staying with their wives and husbands there itself. So what is happening is, we have an empty nest in Belgaum, that is we have only an aged couple in Belgaum, and uh, no one else in the family, so or in the house you can say, instead of a family. So this kind of family structures also we are seeing, where we have in rural areas or semi-urban areas or tier 2 tier 3 cities like Belgaum. This kind of family structures might increase in the future. So this also is a changing demographic profile. Also we have geographical shifts in population, people are moving from smaller cities, smaller towns, villages, towards metropolitan cities in search for better livelihood. So this is how population shifts are happening. There are many such changes which are happening demographically, which we can see in our everyday life. So with this we end today's lecture. I hope you have understood about micro environment and macro environment in detail. Notes of this will be supplied to you. If you have any doubts, you can always contact us.